What's up guys and welcome back to another episode of C and C. This is episode number 7. We're starting today's off with the January transfer window opening. Yes, January has arrived, one of my favourite months in a career mode season, but unfortunately with £93,000 in our transfer budget and only £3,000 in the wage budget, don't think we'll be making any signings in January yet. The most important thing for this season was just trying to get rid of all the foreign players we had and make our side fully Welsh. We've managed to make a fully Welsh first 11 bench and then a few reserves as well. But yeah, with £93,000, we can't hire a better youth scout. We can't really make any signings. So yeah, I think the January transfer window is going to be very short-lived indeed. Still a look at our youth scouting update and also an academy update here as well. I've got to say, a couple of players in there could be alright. Johnson, I'm very excited to promote. As soon as he gets 60 overall, I will promote him. And as we know, the young fullback is someone I'm quite excited about as well. Potential range has been dropping quite significantly, but his overall's not bad. Look at our fixture for January as well. We've got 6 games coming, all 5 weekends, and then a weekday clash. As I say, a weeknight clash as well. But of course, the biggest of the games coming this month is not in League 2. As we know, after our progress over Scunthorpe in the FA Cup second round, making it through to the FA Cup third round, the first round where the Premier League sides enter, as we know, for the first time we've got a Premier League opposition to face, and that is Ralph Hasenhüttl, Southampton. Really excited for that. And again, I know I mentioned it in the last episode, but I really do hope as the FIFA years go by, EA add in, as I was talking about in the last episode, that chance to earn more TV revenue as a lower league side taking on a top tier side. Because again, the broadcasting companies would love a game like that. Newport versus Southampton, absolutely. BBC would love that, but even so, hopefully in the years to come, that is something that EA would look into for the realism. Still, with the first game, also today's episode, we had Walsall away from home. Really interesting ground, Walsall, so you can see it from the motorway. But taking them on away from home, they took lead early in the first half through Kiernan. It was a really difficult game, this one as well. You did the last one against Leyton Orient goalless, and in this one as well, didn't really like scoring in the entire game. Just couldn't defend either. Right past the hour mark, Kiernan bags his brace in what was eventually a 2-0 victory. I only really got like 1 or 2 chances in the entire game. It was very difficult indeed. And 2-0 was how, again, the game would finish. And, I've got to say, I've mentioned it a few times, and I'll say it once again, but I'm really happy with how difficult of a challenge Ultimate is this year. In years gone by, and in FIFA's gone by, since Ultimate was added as a playable difficulty, I mentioned before, like, at times it was, I wouldn't say easy to play against, because it's still the hardest difficulty in the game, but I feel like there were so many exploits you could use to beat the AI that way. My best way of doing it was, again, counter-attacks, because the AI, if you had like a really rapid team, once you're like in behind the back line, forget about it. You're free one-on-one and you'll probably finish the chances. Counter-attacks in this year's FIFA, they're not very effective. They're nowhere near as effective as they used to be, and same with defending as well. You used to be able to just contain the AI and just force them wide, and they wouldn't get a clear-cut chance. This time around, so much more difficult. But still, with the second game was this. So this is the big one here. Southampton at Rodney Parade. Man, I was excited for it. We fell behind 30 minutes in against the Premier League side, as you would expect, but 39 minutes in, had the only chance of the half. Pearson running through down that right hand side. The pressure was on though from the defender in behind him. Just getting the target and smacked into the side netting. To be fair though, I was standing up to the Saints pretty well in this game. Despite being major underdogs, I was doing okay. And 5 minutes after the restart, goodness gracious me, EA please, I'm asking you now. I know it's a glorious goal, but you gotta tone down the long shots in this year's FIFA. They are just far too OP. Lock the ball off to Colwell, gets it out of his feet with the first touch, and then the finish is just absolutely stupendous. 25 yards out. What a bending effort that is into the top corner as we get ourselves back on level terms. But again, EA, you got to tone down the long shots, man. They are so OP, but still back on level terms. I felt deservedly so as well. I felt I was doing okay in this game, but then 5 minutes later, this was absolutely infuriating. Penalty given to Southampton. I couldn't work out what it was for. I thought our goalkeeper there made a pretty smart save going in. But this is just, I mean, come on. Like, Webb's already made the stop as he goes to ground. And then the momentum of tripping over our goalkeeper takes him into our defender Taylor. And the collision there registers as a foul. That's not a penalty. Absolutely no way. But JWP would stand up and take it and miss it as well. Put it wide of the post. It's so red to see the AI failed at the target from a spot kick. But you know the old saying, bull don't lie. Never a penalty, not in my book. And bull don't lie. Ward-Prowse smacks it wide. And that was how the game would finish. Yes, we get ourselves a replay and go to St Mary's in midweek on Wednesday night on the south coast of England for an FA Cup third round replay. And again, I know I mentioned it in the last episode, I mentioned it earlier as well, but this is the game that would be broadcast by national television. And you know, you get such a massive windfall of cash, and a significant amount of cash being a lower league side for this. It would really, really help a bank balance out for a lower league side. I really hope for realism's sake, EA look into that as the years go by in FIFA CM. Anyway, going away from home against Southampton after earning a really credible draw against them at Rodney Parade and forcing a replay, I was thinking, okay, alright, we stood up to them well in South Wales. Can we do it away on the South Coast against a Premier League side in their backyard? The answer was no. Yeah, I did really well in the first game, I have to say. If I don't say so myself, I thought I played really well against the Saints in our first battle on the weekend. The replay was another story, and you would have seen, because it was Wednesday night, I had to rotate a large percentage of my team. But even so, we were 3-0 down in the first half. I think it was Che Adams who got the first, and then Adam Armstrong got one as well. And then in the second half, just after the hour mark, Armstrong gets another to make it 4-0. And I was like, okay, the giant killing is definitely off the table now. There's no doubt about it. And it was one of those games where, like, I've mentioned it before, but, you know, I don't believe in scripting in FIFA. I don't believe in handicap in FIFA. But I do believe in momentum in FIFA. I do believe that's a real thing. And it's realistic because you see it in real life in team sport and also individual sport as well. When someone's up against the ropes, the momentum is clearly with the opponent, and momentum is a real thing. It's psychological, but it's a real thing. I do think it is in the game. I don't believe in scripting a handicap, but I do believe in momentum. And this was just one of those games where it kind of just seemed to be obvious that it definitely is the case, because I literally just could not defend. The Saints just tore me apart. This goal here from Nathan Redmond was absolutely ludicrous. Piece of skill, dribbling, and then the finish after the stupidly flare, skillful first touch as well for turning into the unguarded net. And then stoppage time, this really annoyed me. I'm not going to lie. Like, obviously we'd lost the game. It was 6-0 at this point. This became 7-0, but I didn't understand this. Like, we conceded the goal, but you would have seen, like, my goalkeeper just came, like, charging out of his area for no reason, and I didn't hold down triangle. Like, there'd be no benefit to me holding down triangle there. Yet for some reason my goalkeeper just decided to totally ignore staying by his goal line and just leg it. Like, it was just such a stupid goal to concede, and I was livid because, again, I didn't hold the triangle button or anything, but for some reason he just went walkies for no reason. I think he'd given up at that point. We were 6-0 down, and that became 7, so yeah, we drew 1-1 on the weekend against the Saints. That was a brilliant result. We earned ourselves a replay, but maybe I'm glad it wasn't nationally televised because we got humiliated. 7-0, one of my heaviest defeats in FIFA CM ever, and one to forget. You would have seen from a post-match interview, though, I did say this team is a work in progress. We're not at this level yet, and of course we're not. We're a bloody League 2 side, for goodness sake. Like, of course we're not at this level yet, but even so, to me, I wasn't that fussed about it. It was our first Premier League test. We knew it was going to be difficult. We're a one-star team, for goodness sake. Of course we're going to struggle to compete. The fact we even earned a replay is very good on its own. And of course, the most important thing to me was making sure my side were fit and injury-free heading into the following game on the weekend, which to me had more importance, because we're at home heading into this game here against Harrogate Town, needing to return to winning ways after a tough patch of form. We hadn't got a single win in our last 4 in all competitions, I think it was. Needing to return to winning ways here at Rodney Parade. Got the goal in the second half through Sam Pearson, giving us the lead, and then 60 minutes to go, trying to double it. Bowen coming through, storming into the area, going for goal and finding the bottom corner as well. I'm noticing the AI defenders, like they often, like, when you're on the move and when you're like approaching the goal, they often stand off quite a bit. They play quite a high pressing game. I know it can vary by team, but often on Ultimate, like, a lot of the teams play the same way. Oftentimes they'll play like a high press game when you're quite far away from the goal. But when you are getting towards, like, let's say 25, 30 yards towards their goal, they'll contain and they'll sort of just like backpedal a little bit. So if you just keep walking forward, oftentimes they'll give you the space and you'll be able to find a shooting opportunity. And you saw us take advantage of the press there. Harrogate played like a really high-pitched press there. We managed to get in behind, and Bowen got his second goal of the game to make it 3-0. And then stoppage time. What a great piece of defending and goalkeeping this was as well. I have struggled at times to defend in this year's FIFA. That was brilliant, but then this was not. Yep, I was absolutely fuming. I mean, the game was done, don't get me wrong, we'd won it by 3 goals to 0, but due to how tight it is right now in League 2, there's a very good chance promotion and playoffs could be settled by goal difference. I was running through to clearly make it 4-0, and then the referee blew for full time. Are you serious? That was an absolute joke. Thankfully, it didn't matter. We got the win, and that is, of course, the most important thing. So still in the playoffs, 20 games to go, but again, due to how tight it is right now and taking nothing for granted, anything can still happen as we close out January. Just about right now in the top 7. But that was this episode of CNC, guys. Big fan for it. If you enjoyed, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. And I'll see you for the next episode of CNC very soon.